So President Biden is in Salt Lake City tonight. It's the final stop of a three-state tour, and it also happens to be Biden's first trip to Utah since he became president. And early this morning, about 45 miles south of Salt Lake City in Provo, the FBI shot and killed a man who allegedly made numerous violent threats against President Biden and other Democratic politicians and public figures. Now, the FBI was attempting to serve search warrants and an arrest warrant to a suspect identified in charging documents as a man named Craig Robertson, who posted these threats to social media. Robertson referenced Biden's visit to Utah today and said he needed to prepare his ghillie suit and sniper rifle. This, if you did not know, is what a ghillie suit looks like. As part of the FBI's investigation into Robertson, which began in March of this year, the agency says it reviewed numerous posts in which Robertson threatened violence against government officials. Robertson's alleged threat to Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg called him a political hack linked to George Soros. And then in gruesome detail, it described a plot to assassinate Bragg in a parking garage. He also targeted New York Attorney General Letitia James, Attorney General Merrick Garland, and California Governor Gavin Newsom. Joining me now is Frank Figliuzzi, former FBI Assistant Director for Counterintelligence and an MSNBC national security analyst. Frank, thanks so much for being here. I want to get your thoughts. Let's first talk about the Soros, the mention of Soros in here. You hear that a lot in right-wing sort of paranoid conspiracy circles. Do you see, to state the obvious, but can you talk to me a little bit about the linkage between what's happening there and how that's seeding the sort of most violent corners of the universe and folks like apparently this alleged would-be assassin?
Sure. If you think you've seen this before, it's because you have. And it's a common theme, this concept that someone is controlling the globe, controlling elections and politics, and it's all bad. They're vile, they're subhuman. And it's also something called stochastic terrorism, which is this concept that some leader figure is calling out people as less than human, dehumanizing them, they're evil, and therefore it becomes much easier for people to respond to that kind of ideology and act out violently. We certainly saw it in large numbers, 1,000 arrested already, at January 6th. We saw people willing to die, including Ashley Babbitt, who consumed these Trump conspiracy theories, wrapped in a Trump campaign flag as she's breaching security at the Capitol. We saw it in Cincinnati, where a man breached security or tried to at the FBI Cincinnati field office, ended up dying in a cornfield after hours of standoff. And I'm afraid this is not anyway the end of this, but rather just the beginning as we continue to see Trump and his cohorts making vile accusations against people who are now prosecuting Trump, whether prosecutors or judges. So there's more of this coming. And law enforcement's challenge, of course, is to get out in front of it before the really bad thing happens.
Well, yeah, and tonight on Newsmax, you use the word dehumanizing. I think that's a great description of what he's trying to do to prosecutors, including Fani Willis and Alvin Bragg and Letitia James and Jack Smith. This is what he had to say this evening.
And Biden's newest lackey, Atlanta DA Fani Willis, so incompetent. On her watch, violent crimes have exploded.
This woman is not a capable woman. Jack Smith, he's like a deranged individual. He's a sick puppy.
Really striking to me that, on a day where, we're talking about the FBI having to kill someone who is presumably armed in a conflagration with law enforcement as they're trying to serve arrest warrants and search warrants, because he is fired up about hurting the president of the United States, if not actually killing him. The former president is saying that stuff about law enforcement officials. I kind of wonder from an FBI perspective, given the role of the DOJ in prosecuting Donald Trump, and now given the focus of Trump on all these prosecutors, how dangerous is it for field agents at this juncture? How does the FBI handle this sort of thing without sort of in turn making these individuals martyrs for a cause?
Yeah, Alex, the threat environment is the highest right now than I can recall during my 25-year career at the FBI. The personalization of going after specific agents by name. In fact, this individual specified the agents, the two agents that were actually investigating him, launched threats about killing them. It illustrates the challenge of trying to get out in front of this problem. It's extremely dangerous right now for federal law enforcement. It's going to get worse. They've got to get it right every single time. The bad guy only has to get it right once, yet they're still doing their job. And the irony here is that while a June survey showed that 12 million Americans support the concept of acting out violently to restore Trump to office, and seemingly willing to die for Trump, the irony is that FBI agents come to work every day putting their life on the line, not for Trump, but for the Constitution and their country.
Let me ask you, Frank, I mean, the FBI had been keeping an eye on this individual since March. And, while he had a series of violent posts, in some ways they are something that is not unusual in this day and age. How does the FBI decide, okay, you're someone we're going to actually visit physically, we're going to go in with an arrest warrant? Was it because he was in Utah and the president was going to Utah today?
I think that was certainly something that prompted the quick action. And I could in reading the complaint in support of the arrest warrant, it does seem like it was thrown together fairly quickly, just in terms of, some formatting. But rather, here's kind of where the line gets crossed. They did pay this guy a visit early on. And lo and behold, he actually pretty much threatened them. And he did say, yep, I did that. But, I said some of that was just a dream. So he's trying to play with the line there legally. But then here comes even more threats against the FBI and Biden. And by the way, in there is not only Alvin Bragg, but in the affidavit, you'll see Kamala Harris is threatened. Merrick Garland is threatened. And by the way, Democrats generally, he specifies in one of his social media posts, as targets of violence. So where's the line? Specificity, time, place, method, all plays into a prosecutor's decision to say, yes, I think we need to charge this guy. And then the lack of denial, saying, yeah, no, I didn't mean it. He didn't do that. And rightfully, correctly, thankfully, they sent a SWAT team in to execute this arrest warrant. My understanding, preliminary information, is it quickly turned into a barricade situation. They sent a drone in to try and scout things out and negotiate. Eventually, he grabbed a weapon, swung it toward an agent, and that was the end of his day. Wow.
What a time we live in. Frank Figliuzzi, you're so wise and so knowledgeable with breaking news information here. Thank you for your time this evening, Frank. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.